You are on your side.
Oh yeah, you're on the wrong side.
But we can.
That's true.
Why not?
Well, let me get started, if I might. I'm very pleased to be here with my colleague from Ukraine. We are the heads of our delegations to the Parliamentary Assembly, and we are united. And I must tell you, this is a solemn day. Tomorrow will be the one-year anniversary of Russia's war of aggression, which has been tragic, and that's the understatement of the day. What Russia has done is clear violations, uncorrected, of every commitment they have given under the Helsinki Final Act of 1975. What they have perpetrated here are war crimes, crimes against humanity. And then they try to use propaganda to make it right. We strongly believe that the Russian parliamentarians, all of whom have been sanctioned by the United States, the 6 that are here, should not have been permitted visas to come to this meeting. But I must tell you, if you take a look at what has happened, we have strongly isolated Russia at this meeting. The debate that took place this morning and will continue through tomorrow has made it clear that Russia must be held accountable for the atrocities that they have committed. And we have a declaration that will come out of this meeting that makes it clear what our responsibilities are. Make sure that Ukraine has the defensive equipment it needs. I am proud of the U.S. role here, underscored by President Biden's visit to Kyiv this past week and his remarks in Warsaw. To date, the United States has provided, under the Biden administration, about $30 billion in assistance. We are proud of the fact, as my colleagues here will tell you, Congressman Wilson, by the way, is the chair of the U.S. Helsinki Commission. He happens to be a Republican. I happen to be a Democrat. He happens to be a member of the House. I'm a member of the Senate. We are unified in our support for Ukraine. This does not have a partisan division, nor a division between the House or the Senate, or a division between the legislature or the executive branch. We are united. We are united in holding Russia accountable for these atrocities, especially the war crimes and crimes against humanity. We are committed to help in the reconstruction of Ukraine, and we certainly will continue to isolate Russia. I am pleased that the United States has imposed many individual sanctions on those that have perpetrated these atrocities and are continuing to issue more of those so-called Magnitsky sanctions. We're going to continue to do that. And we are going to continue to look for ways that we can be united with our allies around the world to be effective in helping Ukraine defend itself. This war was started by Russia, and it could end tomorrow if Russia would remove its troops from a sovereign country of Ukraine.
Thank you. Dear colleagues, you know that Ukrainian delegation had to announce in Warsaw last November that for several serious reasons we are not going to take part in the official program of Austrian winter meeting of OSCE PA. We are sure that there are several levels of the problem. But let me stress on a couple of main, on my opinion. The main reason for Russians can't be for now part of Parliamentary Assembly of OSCE is that this country violated and every day is violating not even every word but every letter of Helsinki Act. And Helsinki Act is a fundamental, sorry for such phrase, fundamental basement of the whole building of OSCE. So if there is no penalty, smallest penalty, against a country which violates key chart of the organization, it means that we send very bad message to Moscow, to Kremlin. It means that we are not able to defend our principles. It means that we are not able to defend our values. It means that we don't care about our own laws and rules. But we able. That's why we are here, together with Senator Cardin and his colleagues from House. That's why we're here. That's why we all are here, heads of and members of other delegations, a lot of delegations in OSCE PA. Well, so the first level of problem is, I would say, legislative. The second is more ethical. The problem of their presence here is that when they are blamed in numerous crimes of aggression, in acts of genocide, in other horrible things, they are not ashamed. They are proud. They are proud of all thousands of Ukrainians killed, of all thousands of Ukrainians robbed, raped, murdered. Let's not forget that in Ukraine they are killing every day the elderly, men, women, children, kids, newly born and even unborn, because a lot of Ukrainian pregnant women were killed together with their unborn children. It's war. It's a war, not about. It's a war not only against international law, international rules, civilized rules of behavior. It's war about fundamental principles of humanity. It's a war against right to live, right to speak your own language, right to be part of your own country, right to be part of your culture, right to have your own state. So that is why we have to do something with representatives of the state which systematically denies, and it's not only about Ukrainians, it's about our own rights, basic human rights, to speak our language, to have our own educational system, to have our own history, to have our own states, fundamental human rights. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I want to acknowledge Ambassador Carpenter is here, who's done, I think, an excellent job in trying to make it clear the unity that we have within the OSCE against Russia's aggression in Ukraine. We will be pleased to open up to some questions.
Mm-hmm.
If you identify yourself, sure.
Senator Cardin, Jonathan Tyrone from Bloomberg News. How concerned are you about expanding trade routes on the periphery of the OSCE, particularly in the South Caucasus and Caspian Sea region that Russia is developing southward through Iran into the Indian Ocean? And to the distinguished delegate from Ukraine, you said that Russia has violated every letter of the Helsinki Accord. The OSCE hasn't really been able to do anything except maybe freeze conflicts over the last several decades. And many of those conflicts have flared up into more bloodshed. Why, can you explain to taxpayers who fund this organization why the OSCE is still critical for security in Europe?
Well, first let me talk about the trade routes and the enforcement of sanctions. We know that sanctions could be stronger from the point of view of what is covered and better enforced. And when we don't do that, the revenues are going into Russia to fuel this war. So yes, we are for cutting off all of these trade routes that add to the ability of Russia to pursue this war. So we will look at ways that we can use our global influence to affect some of these decisions that are being made. We recognize in some cases we don't have the direct ability to stop these types of trade, but it is part of our strategy, and President Biden's been very vocal about other countries enforcing sanctions against Russia. So absolutely, we want to look at all these avenues. It's not just the trade routes, it's also the sectors that have not had as comprehensive a coverage as we would like to see them, allowing Russia to continue to get the revenues that they're using to finance this war. You asked my colleague a tough question.
Yeah. Well, let me remind you, colleagues, that OSCE was created in the 70s to prevent nuclear war between Soviet and Western Bloc. OSCE, by its nature, is not an organization to stop wars. It's designed mostly to keep peace. But of course, OSCE couldn't stop Putin. Well, but look, this is what I remember today. Only, authors of Magnitsky Act were probably the first people who understood the nature of Putin's gangster regime. Because we in Ukraine also, in that time, when US Congress adopted Magnitsky Act, we also didn't understand the real nature of regime in Kremlin. We still were thinking, about our common victory in Second World War, that we are brothers, and so on. So very few people in the whole world understood the nature of Putin regime by that time. Thank to you, Senator, and to all your colleagues who started to open our eyes. But coming back to OSCE, OSCE in the process of this reform that is needed, on our opinion, can be at least start these transformations to be effective organization, not only of keeping peace, but also of, again, preventing wars of new type. Because in zone of responsibility of OSCE, there is not only this horrible war of aggression against Ukraine. No, there are also other potential risky zones. Central Asia, where Russia is losing its influence, and we have to be proactive there, because countries there are in a very hard ecological situation, and there are already clashes about the war, about water. So we definitely need organizations which can prevent wars, which can facilitate dialogue, but not dialogue. You all journalists, you all know what I mean. Not just dialogue in the format of fine fancy club with a glass of wine and discussing in good company some interesting topics. No, real dialogue. focused on resolving real problems that can that can grow up to great tragedies. So we believe that OSCE can have future and be very effective and productive, but we have a lot of work to do.
Let me speak for the United States for one moment. We believe the OSCE is a very important organization. It has so many different facets to it. Its field missions have had a great deal of success. The election monitoring is a key role in helping countries understand the protection of free and fair elections. It has a parliamentary assembly, which is unique for regional organizations. It provides technical help. For example, I'm a special rep in regards to anti-Semitism, racism, and intolerance. We share information. As a result, we've seen practices improved in countries dealing with these types of challenges. The same thing with the media, the same thing with migration. It's a very important organization, and it has, I think, changed to meet current needs. Does that mean it doesn't need further reform? No, it does need further reform, and that's what we are all trying to see how we can deal with those. Yes, ma'am.
You were speaking of Russia Russia shouldn't be a member of the PA, and you said reforms have to be started. Do you have any concrete proposals about what those reforms should look like and how that real dialogue, how you put it, can be enforced?
What is our difference from Russian so-called politicians? Well, first difference, of course, that we are elected and Russian politicians are appointed. But nevertheless, the difference between us is that we are not creating sanctions. Well, of course, we're creating sanctions, but in this case, we're not creating some rules concretely for one country. No, our goal is and was to create rules for situations. This is what I already touched, saying about prevention of possible wars and conflicts. So that is why we have created altogether representatives of different countries. We have created the draft of amendment. The idea is not to kick them out. No, to suspend, and not especially Russians. So if the idea is very clear, if one country member starts war of aggression against another country member, the rights of its delegation should be suspended. Well, the system is not very simple. It is absolutely transparent. It is flexible. Because, well, there should be a monitoring committee established. Monitoring committee should, by the way, contact all involved sides of war or conflict. Monitoring committee has to report to president, to report to assembly. So every day, monitoring committee can decide that there is a big progress. So let's vote this decision, back. Here, in consultations with other delegations, we already have great feedback on this draft. We understand how this proposed system can be improved and even make it more flexible, so that again, OSCE get effective mechanism to influence countries which even not when war already started, but even in forward to influence countries and to prevent possible conflicts. So it's again, it's not about Russians or Belarusians. It's about effectiveness of organization. We hope that on summer meeting in Vancouver we will be able to implement this system, or maybe some other decisions, but again, our main goal is to make OSCE effective, resultative organization.
I just might underscore that the 6 parliamentarians that are here from Russia are not interested in dialogue. They're here for propaganda. It's very clear about that. So the process on how we can modify our rules started in Birmingham with a statement that was issued. We've had discussions here in Vienna with several of the delegations as to how we can find a unified position on doing exactly what we were talking about, that is being able to suspend rights. And we hope that we'll be able to bring this to conclusion by our meeting in Vancouver.
Yes. Peter Fritz, Austrian Television Board. Question to Mr. Buturay. Sir, was Ukraine in any way represented in today's proceedings? Like we did see the Slovak delegate reading out the declaration on your behalf. Were there any other proxies, advisors, whatever, acting on behalf of Ukraine in today's or tomorrow's proceedings?
No, because we are boycotting, and the only thing we had to do is to plan meetings with all delegations that would like to meet with us. And I would say that, it's hard to calculate. So I started my day today at 7:30 a.m. I will finish my day. Well, I prayed to the Lord that I could finish my day today after 9 p.m. Yesterday was the same, and tomorrow will be the same. So in fact, I don't know if I can tell about it, but in fact, it's like parallel or alternative winter meeting. Now, of course, our friends in main hall of Hofburg, of course, are doing their best to first to work effectively, and second to show to these 6 Russian war criminals real attitude of civilized world to their crimes. But as for this statement, yes, we wrote this statement, and the only problem, but very small problem, was to find a person who will agree to read it. And as you can imagine, I would say very politically correct, very politely, the problem was how not to обидеть somebody, because there were a lot of people who wanted to read our statement, and unfortunately we had only one statement, so it was the problem.
Good problem to have. Yes.
From a freelancer. You're also having contacts with the Belarusian opposition?
During this visit? Yes, I'm planning. Look, Belarusian opposition is spread in different countries, partially in Europe, partially in Ukraine. So I personally and my colleagues were trying to support all main groups in Belarusian opposition. Madam Tikhanovskaya, of course, and this special regiment named by Kostuch-Kalinovsky, who are the part of our army and acting absolutely heroically in different fronts. So yes, we are contacting with Belarusian opposition, because look, Belarus and Moldova, it is 2 questions that really hurts Ukrainians. So we have to we believe that Belarus will be saved. We believe that Belarus will be saved. But we of course understand that Belarus will be saved as soon as Ukraine is victorious. But now we have to do all our best to save Moldavian democracy.
You get the last question.
Another one for Mr. Buturay, sir. Are you on your own behalf here, or is the whole Ukrainian delegation conducting that parallel kind of assembly following one after the other, as you mentioned?
We have more parties than in the United States Congress. And really we have some serious discussions inside our parliament, but thanks God that in our delegation we are not only colleagues in parliament, but we are friends, real friends. Well, with some people, some deputies in my delegation I know for many years, although they are in opposition. But you know, working in one sphere, spending a lot of time in one company, so we really are close to each other. So that is why when anyone and we trust each other, So anyone can speak on behalf of our delegation, and we will speak in one voice.
I want to acknowledge that Congressman Wilson was one of those who had intervention today in support of Ukraine during the general debate, and was very effective on the points that we all have mentioned here today. So, as you pointed out, your views are being well represented, near unanimous, part of the debate taking place on the floor of the Parliamentary Assembly. I think we've run out of, yep. Quickly.
You mentioned, Senator, that you didn't agree with the Austrian decision to give the visa to the Russians. Did you communicate with the Foreign Ministry, or was there any pressure?
We sent a letter. We communicated with the Foreign Ministry. Yes, we did. It was not just me. Congressman Wilson was also part of that. It was bipartisan and bicameral letter from the Congress in support of denying the visa applications for the Russians' participation. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, colleagues. Thank you very much.
Well done. Yeah, it was good. You're healing this very well.
It is a great honor for me to take part in press conference together with you. Really.
You all are inspirational to us. I mean, I can do this all from the safety of my house and in my office in Washington. You're putting your lives on the line for all of us.
Thank you.
So, believe me, it's our honor. We'll do everything we can.
But nevertheless, it's an honor.
And thanks for wearing our pin. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah. By the way, I brought it from my first trip to the United States after I was elected in 2019. We went to DC. Yes.
Let me see if I can get. Hey, Joe. Can I get you for a photo here for a second?
Photo. Yes.
Don't tell that to the Parliament.
I'm in the center. Oh,
yes,
okay.
you are, of course.
Okay. Sorry. Okay.
Mr. Ambassador, why don't you in here just get you in here? You are tall. Okay.
He really is. 6'3".
Ambassador Comforter is making great job here in India.
Very proud.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you again.
Stay safe.
I will do my best.
You know how to reach me at any time, so if there's anything more, or if there's any challenges in communication, just let us know.
Okay, thank you.
We have a very close relationship with the administration. We have a close relationship with the ambassador, so we can relay messages.
Well, hey, the ambassador has a very close relationship with President.
Yeah, I know.
But you got the best support.
I know. Thank you again.
Interview.